Family last week South
Actually,
Florida.
it was the end of July.
Oh, July, okay.
The last week in July is what they call mini season or sportsman season, and that's when 2 days that you can go and get lobster, dive for lobster.
What did you get instead?
Yeah, well, we got some lobster, but one day, so we do that in the Gulf down in Marathon, and then we go out into the Atlantic and go fishing. We went out particularly for mahi-mahi, dolphin fish. And so we were out fishing all day, caught some fish. We were on our way back in, and my younger brother saw some debris floating in the water. And what happens is the smaller fish will congregate under the debris for the shade, which brings the larger fish. So you always want to fish around any debris. So we went over towards that, and the closer we got, I realized that it was a bale of cocaine. From the time it had been floating in the water, some of the protective plastic had split. And so I could see from my days or years in narcotics, I could see that they were tightly wrapped kilos of cocaine. And so we pulled it up onto the boat. And then when we got back into the Vaca Pass, into the no wake area, I called the sheriff's office, and they sent an officer out. And then ultimately customs agents came out. We showed them on the GPS exactly where we found it. If they needed that information, we had marked, and then they took it.
First time, of course, that happened that to you.
Yeah, that's the first time. I worked narcotics as a police officer for many years in a number of different levels, from street level all the way up to interdiction task forces. But that was the first time I've ever personally come across something like that.
And not only as a mayor of Tampa, but you were a previous, chief of police.
Right.
So you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And did the authorities down there, when they found out who was the one finding the cocaine, did they say anything to you?
Well, I didn't really tell them. The officer that responded out, I told him that, I said I used to be a police officer in Tampa, and I retired as the chief, but I never mentioned that I was the mayor. So he was a wonderful individual. And then the customs agents just came. They were pretty much all business, and so they just took it up and took it away. And then found out later that it was approximately 70 pounds, and the street value was about $1.1 million.
A big catch.
I know, it was a big catch. So it was interesting because where we stayed, the house that we rent down in Marathon, they're on canals, so there's a lot of other people, and everybody sits out on their porch at night. And so we came in the next day, and when I pulled the boat up to the dock, and the neighbors from across the canal go, "Hey, did you catch any more of those square grouper?" Said, "Not today."
With butterflies.
Yeah, right.
Do you have any idea what is that meaning?
No, they're, and I didn't see any of that. We didn't touch the package other than to bring it into the boat, but it clearly was, from what I could count, 24 tightly wrapped packages that I would guess were a kilo. And then later they said that the report said that it had a specific marking on it, which that I know from narcotics is that different narcotics organizations, drug traffickers will put their stamp on drugs so that they know where it comes from.
And I know that you have a training, on narcotics by your family. Were they afraid of that?
They were a bit nervous. What if there's a tracker on it? And I said, well, it's been in the water, clearly. It's been in the water for a while, so the battery's dead on that tracker if there is one. But, I just surmised that it either fell off a boat or dropped out of a plane, or somebody ditched it if they saw customs coming towards them. Who knows where it came from? But I told him, I said, don't worry, I'll notify the police as soon as we get within phone range, and it'll be okay.
And as authority, of course, you catch that on South Florida, but we have been fighting against drugs everywhere in the border here in Tampa Bay area.
Right.
So what should we do in order to fight the drug, traffic?
Well, we need to stop it. We need to interdict in other countries, where the narcotics are either being grown or being produced in those locations, and not wait until they come through our borders and hit our streets. We also have to pay attention to the issue of addiction and how that affects mental health too, because I think that that's a two-way fight to stop the supply, but also to stop that demand in our communities.
Thank you for your time.